changed.
No, well, even a low score 60 there was as good as a ton from the position that he's in.
It's better from
Simply not
Tim.
finding the trebles.
Well, the last shot was better, showed a little bit more intensity. He's playing his way into the game, and it is Ray on throw. So, Ray holds throw here. It's not the end of the world for Tim. He's he can just use this leg to get his arm going, play his way in, try and shake off a few nerves.
Oh, now you know it's coming against you.
Well, and get rid of the bad luck. All in the first leg. Get that all out the way.
Boom.
Boom.
17 data. Very tidy start.
3, 2, 1. Boom. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. With let me just stop that. With the Guru Ray Smith and Declan Bailey, and absolute pleasure to have you, Ray.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Cracker weekend. Obviously, you dominated, and for those that you don't know, we've got Raymond, the Guru Smith, with us, and after back-to-back wins on the debut of the Australian Data Association, he's come on to answer some questions. Well, I'll tell you how this came about. First of all, we had a massive amount of comments coming through, people reading news articles saying Ray's doing this, Ray's not doing that. And I reached out to Ray and said, what is the story? I want to know. And he said, well, how about this, Ben? I'll come on and tell you live on Dartstream Live. So you guys are finding out as I find out.
Let's bring it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Declan, we've been discussing this in the background. Are we going to start having pot shots at what's going on, or what's the go here? Are we going to let Ray fill us in?
Look, well, I suppose, I think that the big question on everybody's lips is obviously, you're going through and you're top of the ADA table by some margin at the moment. And with that comes a provisional spot at the PDC Worlds. But people are hearing that you are not going to take it. You're instead going to opt for Lakeside, or, you're choosing to play Lakeside, and whether that that exclusive one or the other kind of pattern continues, that's your plan. So talk us through it, mate.
Yeah, so I suppose it goes back to the World Cup 2 years ago, where I got really sick. I think I lost about 3 kilos from the time I played the semi-final the time I played my second round to the time I played the semi-final. Everything my body just had enough. So I remember getting sick in 2013, and I said, if another episode like this happens again, that's it, it's over. So I went to my doctor after I got back, and I was pretty ill for a fair while. I had to pull out of Lakeside that year as well. I had to pull out of Modus, and it just felt like it was a whole lot of a letdown. So then I started to plan with my doctor. We went through everything we possibly could to try and figure it out, because you get sick of these things after a while. And then we worked on finding the solution. When we found out what the solution was, and it came down to a cortisol issue with the liver, which is due to stresses and so on and so forth. So high stress job, darts, all that sort of jazz. So body's just not producing the enzymes to break down the food. So if you can't break down the food, it's going to come back out. So so while I was working with that, I was getting really frustrated and so on. And then it came up with a plan that if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to have to set myself in a way that's going to be, I take things at my time and my pace to to ensure that I stay balanced. And if I start to reach those stress levels again, then I can contain it, I suppose. I don't know how much of this came from the PDC run, where we made the top 16 there, and this guy that nobody talks about, nobody knows about, all of a sudden my Facebook's blowing up, and I've got all of these questions to answer, and all these questions, and so on and so forth, and so at the moment I just don't think I'm in the right place or the right. There's too many variables, so I just don't know. So anyway, going back to the plan, I worked it out with the GP. I set myself on a 4-year plan. I'm in the second year of that plan. So last year was I went to Lakeside with Kai to support. I didn't bother trying to qualify. I think if I had gone to Melbourne and you only needed 4 points to qualify, but then it wasn't the right time. So at the moment, it's trying to put all the ducks in a row to get where I want to be, and that is over in the UK within the next 3 years now.
Yep.
So
Okay.
as we step through all of these points, the body's reacting really, really well. I was a little bit sick and sore on Monday, but in all, I've bounced back quite well. So, the big test is going to be Modus. That's going to answer a lot of questions for me as well. And if the body holds up, then yeah. But if it doesn't, then I'm down for another 2 years. So the plan at the moment is to work through and do the things that I want to do that I've already mentally prepared for the last 20 years. Ali Pali was definitely on that equation, but so was Lakeside. And it's not to say that I think Lakeside is an achievable to win the title or anything like that. It's just that's what I'm going to be ready for this year. That's what I've worked for this year. So it's in the plan. If I change that plan up now, then everything's just going to be run at a risk.
Yep. Yeah, it's
Ray,
fair.
Everybody was making predictions about the weekend, and my prediction was, you would probably lose event 3. It's, takes an incredible amount of, dart fitness, if you like, to play through, 2 events in the one day, and perhaps that, you might, use all that adrenaline and energy in the first game and maybe not have the legs for the second game. You are in mid-40s now. I'm not saying you're old, but mid-40s, and maybe it was going to be the younger players' afternoon, perhaps. But you proved us all wrong and powered on through in what I can say was a dominant performance.
Yeah, that comes down to just understanding the game and a little bit more of detail than most players. I know when I'm conserving energy, when I need to conserve energy, when I need to spend energy. But don't get me wrong, there's a bit of luck in there as well, absolutely. So, but luck's luck. You got to be there. You got to be good enough to take the shot when it comes. And so yeah, the practice and the routine and the system, and that those things don't just happen. That's 2-3 weeks of planning that goes into the preparation for that tournament.
Well, obviously you prepared well. So we touched on the physical side of it and getting your health right and all those things. What is the plan moving forward? What are you going to? Is it people are saying he's not going to play in PDC World Championships even if he wins the spot, which you look fairly well placed to do after 4 wins already in the ADA. Other people are saying, no, he just wants a world championship and WDF is the easiest route to get it. Other people are saying he's going to quit darts. He's had enough. He's just playing for fun now. Other people are saying, no, he just wants to coach juniors. We're hearing all these different things. Where's it lie? Let's hear it from the guru.
Yeah, so the plan this year is to go to Lakeside, do very well. Until, was it 2 weeks ago? I didn't know the ADA was a thing. So, this can adjust the plan, but at the moment it's too soon. So if Lakeside goes well, then, if Lakeside goes well, then ADA route could be a definite opportunity to go into the PDC next year. But at the moment, I don't know. If I hold up well at Modus, then that's a big win for me, because I'm going to have to do it on the back of an Australian Championship as well. So then after that, I think the following year my plan is to do 2 trips to Modus if I can, it was to hopefully go deep to winning Lakeside next year, and
the opportunity. The opportunity for prize money in the PDC World Championships is much higher than the WDF. So what is your thinking in going WDF rather than PDC?
So the thinking was that the PDC wasn't available to me last year. So
Okay, so this year, for example, is that shifted? Is it set in stone that you're playing the WDF rather than the PDC?
yeah, it's part of the plan. I'd love to go and be the flag bearer for ADA. I'd love to go and have another crack at Ali Pali. Don't get me wrong. I want to do it, but it's not the right time. I don't know if I go there and things go well, and then I put myself back in the same position I was 2 years ago, then I've lost another 2 years. So I don't want to waste time. I'm 45 now. I can't. So I can waste a year. Absolutely. I can't lose 3. So that's my mindset with it all.
I spoke to Kelvin today. I've not about you. We were talking about the Australian World Championships coming up. And, the conversation did head on to you. I said, we'll live stream you tonight. You should jump on and have a look and blah, blah, blah. And he had a lot to say. And one thing that really stuck out was that he still feels like your best darts are in front of you. Is that how you feel?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like some of the stuff I'm doing on the practice board at the moment is phenomenal. Like, I think I had a shot at a 9 on the weekend. I'm doing that almost every week at the moment.
Yeah,
so
okay.
my game's at that level. My pegging is the best it's been. My scoring is rock solid. And my numbers consistently in big games. I'm turning up for them.
Yeah, you definitely did have a crack at a 9 data on the weekend. We could hear the crowd erupt on the stream board through the mics. Saw that happen. So yeah, massive effort.
Yeah, I was out there on the floor, and I wasn't actually looking, but I heard the crowd, and I looked over, and yeah, the atmosphere in there at that moment was crazy. It was, silent room, and then that happens, and everybody around, was so loud.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts.
Yeah. Look, well, you both sort of touched on a big point, and I kind of want to steer the conversation a little this way. You're talking about how you've got the plan and how Lakeside fits into that. Obviously heading into this year, around the Darts Queensland events and heading into the Queensland Championships, honestly, from watching from where I was, it was like you were playing the dartboard and everyone else was there playing their own tournament. You were chasing Tony David's record at the Queensland Championships, and you were just that cut above in the averages. And obviously heading into the Australian Championships, I guess I've got two kind of parts to my question. The first is, where does the Australian Championships and the subsequent World Cup sort of fit into that plan? And then the second part is really, who have you got your eye on as people that people to watch out for at the championships, but also potential partners in the World Cup?
Yeah, it's a good one. Look, the Australian Championships are big. Excuse me. Yeah, they're a big part of my plan, because that's 9 solid days of playing darts at a fairly high level.
Yeah.
I want to really try and test myself and stay in that 30 bracket, because that was something I wasn't doing even when I was playing over in the Modus, or when I won Modus and the PDC. So that's big, holding your form for that long. That's something that's massive. As for who I've got my eye on, I don't really think about that stuff. I'm just trying to stay in my groove at the moment. But as a doubles partner, I thought Mel was playing really solid, and I think Mel's playing off this year.
Yep.
And we both count similarly. We both play similarly. So yeah, I wouldn't be too disappointed if he was my doubles partner. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. It's interesting there, because obviously, you and my dad, James Bailey, for those of you out there who don't know, you guys are very close mates, off the dartboard, and you are a pretty fearsome doubles pairing, and Mal and Dad get on really well and are practice partners too. So it kind of makes sense that would knock on that. By extension, you and Mal would work together as partners.
Yeah. I mean, and there's certain things that you see in players that like last year, for argument's sake, when I qualified for the stateside, they came up and they said, at the moment it's myself and Dave Marshall that have already in like five games in, I think it is, and it's like, yeah, that's my doubles partner, because I've watched him play with Glenn Jones for so long and just been absolutely dominant. I mean, they're the only pairing I know of that's cleaned James and I off the board.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, just knew that he was going to be the person that I wanted to play with. And same with James. We just click. We play brilliant together.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, for a little bit of history, he's the only other dart player that's got a photo in my house. I've got the photo of the doubles.
Yeah.
So yeah, the photo of him and I at the doubles win.
Hey,
It's in my trophy cabinet.
we've got a question from DJ Kiwi. Greg Taylor says, can you ask what he feels is the weakest part of his play?
Yeah, 180 counts. I hit them when I need them, but I don't hit many.
Yeah.
But,
Actually, we noticed that over the weekend. I was going through the list and sort of just expecting you to be somewhere near the top of the heap. And at that stage, I don't know, I can't remember when it was, but you'd only hit 2 180s, like prolific on the 140 hitting. But yeah, not a whole bunch of 180s.
Yeah, if you want a silly stat, if I throw 180s, they're normally the first shot of the leg.
Oh,
If you have
really?
a look at the
Yeah, okay.
statistics.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, a little bit more motivated. But apart from that, I just stick to my plan, stay in my groove.
Yeah, cool. If anyone's got any questions for Ray, and I'm sure there are, like, stop messaging me and put them in the on the live stream, and I'll be happy to call them out. At the moment, Desi Mercer's in there saying, "Bell, I'm hungry."
Yeah, head busy.
She wants some Malibu chicken.
Yeah, absolutely. My favourite feed as well.
Yeah. So you mentioned Modus a couple of times there, and look, for those of you who don't know who Ray is, then you probably don't know Australian darts. But Ray, you famously went over and I think it was your debut appearance in the Modus Super Series, won your week, and then went back and smashed the Champions Week as well. And there's super strong fields of players. And when you came back, I think I caught up with you the week after you got back, maybe over in Western Australia, and you were really pumped about the organisation, the way that competition ran. The whole experience for you was really positive. What's your and you mentioned earlier on that you're planning to go back and play in more Modus competitions. Is that possibly more important to you, being able to play in the variety of competitions for a variety of organisations than picking up a tour card and playing for the PDC?
No, the tour card's still the end game. So that's my 2028 plan is to be there.
2028 is the timeline. Yep. And how does that work out with the family? Obviously, the boys are grown, and but you still have Belle here. Is this going to be a family relocation to the UK, or what's the plan?
At the moment, the plan is hopefully pick up the tour card in I think it's January, February, and then spend 6 months here, like flying back for majors and a few tournaments and try and bundle a few together. While we work on a home base as such. So personally, I'd much prefer my current plan is to have a look at a spot in either Italy or Spain and fly back and forward from there.
Yeah, okay.
Just for better climate, better food.
Better climate, food, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, you go.
No, you go, Dick.
Well, look, I was just going to say, that is something that I guess we hear from specifically like Hopi when we spoke to him at the World Series. He wasn't the happiest with the way that his life was, and obviously separation from the family is part of that. But everybody jokes about the weather in the UK and everybody's miserable and whatnot. So that's really interesting. I've actually never heard anyone kind of put that as a plan, is to live a bit outside of the UK, because obviously cheap flights from Spain or Italy to England.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's an interesting move. I think
It shows that I've thought about it. That there is a plan. I'm not ducking anything.
No, mate, I 100% know if anyone has got a plan, it's you, and you would have thought this inside out and upside down. But you have been through phases of your career where you've just thought about chucking it all in the bin as well.
Absolutely. I get there quite often, but that's more of the, I suppose, mental side of the game. Like, I enjoy playing. I love playing. Absolutely love it. I just hate the I suppose the social media stuff. So you'll notice I'm not on social media anymore. I get on there, I post something if Belinda tells me to. That's it. I don't have the time for it anymore. It's you turn yourself at knots over something that, so what? It's trivial. I mean, you see a lot of these guys posting messages they get that's just hateful and scornful and
Yeah. Well, I know Dad copped it a bit, and a few of the guys that have gone over. Like, I think it's getting worse as time goes on. And I know we had a bunch of Aussies over at Lakeside, and different championships over Christmas last year, and it seemed to be a lot more then than what is usually sort of going on. It's not getting better, that's for sure.
No, and it's getting like the game against Florian Hempel, for argument's sake. There's some comments that came from the crowd that were just disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And it's getting to the point where they're trying to influence the outcome of the game now. Like, don't get me wrong, the guys that were over on the bleachers give me the curry when I was playing Merv. Loved it. It was brilliant. I thought it was good banter. It was a lot of fun. But the guys at the front spitting venom at you, no, there's no place for it.
Hey, you got a couple more questions. Matthew McLennan says, what's the mindset going into big games, and how do you keep the composure during the big matches?
Oh, that's preparation. That's all preparation. That's the 3-4 weeks before you get into the tournament. So your box breathing methods and all that sort of stuff, your relaxation, but your practice has to match what you're trying to do on the board.
So when you're practicing, are you putting yourself in that situation in your imagination? Are you there on the stage, or?
No, you're working through your technique and making sure there's no flaws in your technique. So if there is a flaw, how are you going to manage it? How are you going to control it? At the end of the day, when you get into those big shots, if you don't have a plan to manage your technical flaws, then you're just going to tense up, get nervous, lose your grip, or you're going to get jerky or what have you. So, I just have absolute faith in my technique. That's what I practice for.
So your throw being well is what gives you the confidence on the stage. That's where it's all coming from. Making sure your throw's good.
That's part of it. You've got your process, your systems, your routines, and all that sort of jazz. Like, I play the game in 4 different zones, for argument's sake. Or 5 technically, if you class the dead zone in there, where I just turn off mentally, shut down, and let the body take over and do its thing.
When you say zones, are you talking mental zones? Is that?
No, ground zones. So things I'm doing in certain areas. So I'm going to take the dart out of the board, for argument's sake. From the time I take the dart out of the board to get to the hockey line, I can be as negative as I want. I call myself a twat, whatever. No stress. From the time that I walk around towards the back to the encroachment line, I'm setting up the next shot. So if I've got 83 left, for argument's sake, I'm now going to go 51, 32, 17, 48, 18, 17, 16 bull. And getting all that sorted out, and then standing on the encroachment line, just getting my breathing right, and move into the hockey line, set yourself up, and then shut off and go again.
Yeah, interesting. You getting these hot tips for free on Dartstream Live from the guru, from live, straight from his mouth, from the horse's mouth, as they say. Nick Jarvis.
Well, look, I think it's in Raymond's best interest to be giving these to Matt McLennan specifically. Matty's in the
Absolutely.
Queensland teams. Shout out, Matty.
Yeah,
Played
absolute
in the
weapon that
juniors. Played in the juniors would have been 10 years ago. I think it was the first time Matty made the junior state team, and in the seniors team this year, following his dad's footsteps.
I thought he would have gone close to an Aussie spot then too. He still is absolutely brilliant.
I better rip through some questions. Here's one you can answer really quickly. This is Nick Jarvis, will you be playing in Wollongong?
No.
Nope.
If
Didn't
the
attempt
PDC
to.
ring, then offer me a spot.
You didn't play in any events to qualify to play at the Masters, so that's a definite no. Scott Hay says, "Good day, fellas, and well done to Raymond on the first tournament."
Thanks, mate.
Sorry, there's more questions. I just got to find them, mate. Won't be a minute.
Mick Jones has asked, "What's your best tournament win?"
Modus, the Champions Week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was season 2, I think. You're the second ever winner, and then Luke went and won 3 in a row or something before Luke Littler, before his Worlds run, and the rest was history. But, you were there before him, and it was a very impressive. I remember watching it, and just, I
don't make it to the highlight packages anymore. There's so many series since the last one.
Yeah. Jamin Lever in the comments says, would Ray push to play with Damo next year in the World Cup over the Wizard? Be some fresh blood.
Yes.
There you go. I wonder how that selection is going to happen now for the World Cup side.
Well,
yeah, look, it's going to be very interesting, isn't it? And especially if the ADA, the way that tournament ran, it's going to grow. It's absolutely going to grow. So the PDC would be mad not to try and jump in and do something, like throw another carrot out there.
Alex Perry said, "Are you playing any Motor Super Series anytime soon?" Good question.
Very soon. Very soon.
When's that, Ray? That next one? You and Kai are going over. Is that right?
Yes. I don't think Motus have announced it yet. So, but very soon.
Oh, you heard it live. I said it's going to be live and exclusive on DSL.
Would it be a DSL stream without Ben spoiling something?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably one of the worst kept secrets, though.
John Cabay says, how do you get your mindset ready for a tournament? I think we sort of went over that, but your mental preparation for a tournament, if there's anything to add there, Ray?
Look, my tournaments start 3 weeks before I play. I mean, there's diets involved, there's minimum water levels that need to be taken on involved. There's a lot that goes into it, a lot of processes. And especially with the issues that we're talking about there, trying to manage the whole stress levels and the parasitic nerve and all that sort of nonsense. It's there's a lot of mental preparation that goes into it as well.
Yeah. And DJ Kiwi, Greg Taylor says, what are your don'ts when playing in multi-day events?
Don't eat it at least an hour before I play. Don't eat sugar, carbs. I've got a very, very strict diet that Blender absolutely manages.
Is that to avoid, the crash and, sugar high and all that sort of thing? Is that what that's about? Or is it inflammation?
Yeah. So what triggered off a lot of the issues at the World Cup is that after my second game, I went off because I had, I think it was 2 hours before my next match. So I went off and ate. And I had a big feed thinking I've got 2 hours, this will get me through to the rest of the day. And that's where, I eat very, very minimal for the whole day. I'll go home. I'll finish the day. I won't be hungry, but, I can go and knock over a decent steak as well.
Interesting. Yeah, good pointers.
Yeah, well, compared to most players that I've ever met, you're very much one who's on top of all aspects of your game. You know, the biomechanics, the diet, all of it. You know, you have an answer for everything. Really, every part of your game is mapped out to the, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, from the way I play to the way I prepare to the way I approach the board, everything's got a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I've got the motivation to practice. Things are starting to come together.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, one big thing that I think a lot of people found interesting was when you did go to Lakeside. Obviously, you were there, not playing. You were supporting Kai. And then you ended up in the commentary booth. Sort of, how did that come about, and how did you find that whole experience? Because you have a lot of valuable insight. Yeah, how did that all come about, and how did that go for you?
Yeah, so I'm pretty good friends with your Nick Rolls and Marco and so on who run the tournament. And I says, look, do you need a hand while I'm there? I'm more than happy to jump in if you want me to sweep floors or what have you. I just want to help you guys. And he says, oh, look, you know. And I says, oh, look, I know a fair bit about the game as well, so I can help, you know, chat to your comms team. And he says, oh, do you want to do comms? Yeah, why not? But yeah, loved it. I thought it was awesome, but at the same time, very difficult where we were because we're above where all the people were. So yeah, our noise carried all the way down to the stage. You know,
yeah, Ben's had that once or twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. From interstate even.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. You've got a lot of insightful things to say, you know, and it's down to how much you know about your game, and you can see in other people's games. It's things that most wouldn't even consider, but you can break down exactly what's happening and why. I think, the only thing that I found that was a potential negative was that, you know, you would get so deep into something and then the game would move too quick, and all of a sudden, you know, they had to the other commentator had to cut you off. But no, it was definitely interesting sitting down and just listening to you talk through a game for sure.
Yeah, it's very very interesting. But I mean, that's why I can't watch darts on TV, because I just get too. You know, I'm that guy that sits there and screams at the TV, not because you missed a shot, because, you know, I can see your technique. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
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 But
Andrew,
it's pretty good. I mean, Kai picks it up.
Yep. Awesome. And that's good. You know, Kai and Connor both have been really improving. And yeah, Kai obviously picking up another zone open recently. His first time back in the winner's circle in recent times. And yeah, it's pretty clear that, you're imparting as much knowledge as you can. And obviously he's a young head and he's stubborn. I've known him for a long time. But yeah, there's obviously some stuff that's rubbing off there.
Yeah, well, as always, Dad knows nothing. You know, it's a standard father-son relationship.
Yeah.
So we're not far from having to wind it up, guys. But any last questions out there? Hit us up on Facebook or YouTube, and I'll read them out for Ray before we disappear. Nothing
Andrew
else there.
Doty has said, "Can I ask why wouldn't you like to practice?"
Oh, I just found it boring. No, it was just too boring. I'd rather sit there and read a book than practice. So, and yeah, I've got a natural affinity for biomechanics and psychology and so on. So, yeah, I just started reading all of that, and every now and then I'll find something that'll be darts related, and then I'll go and have a throw. But apart from that, I just do the general maintenance. That's like 9 darts every time I walk past the board. But no set structure, no practice routines, nothing. But
How many nights a week are you playing, a competition or something like that, though?
I'm playing once a week at the moment, and filling in for Wednesday. I play at Anala on a Thursday night, and that's more just having a few drinks and talking a bunch of nonsense with the lads. But, you know, at the same time, enjoying myself. You know, got to have that downtime. But, yeah, that's it.
Awesome. So when do we get to see you next on, either on stream or on TV? That'd be Australian Championships?
I'm hoping so, yeah. I'm hoping I'm there. on finals day.
Yep.
Oh
Awesome.
we
Another
will,
DSL presentation.
yeah, we're all clear to say it. We'll be there the entire week at the Australian Championships, so Pacific Masters right through. So I'm sure we'll see plenty of you,
I hope so.
and hopefully finals day too.
Yeah, plenty coming
Awesome.
up. It's look, it's all good stuff for Australian darts, and I think it's we heard Matt Porter in an interview, and it sort of went pretty well viral across Australia, saying this is going back a year or so ago, how he was disappointed with Australian darts and the fact that we weren't seeing our best players playing in Australian competitions. And I think as he said that, I think most listeners were going, best players probably, well, perhaps Peter Machin was talking about retirement, but of course the Guru, we weren't seeing much of you. You'd popped up at Modus, but you weren't playing in any Australian comps, and certainly not trying to get any places in the PDC. So he'll be very happy to see you back.
Yeah. Look, I'm pretty excited about that opportunity. As this changes my plan and hopefully accelerates it. So, but yeah, touch wood. We'll find out what happens with Modus, and then we'll see how I get through Lakeside.
Yep.
But there might be the ANZ Premier League as well to throw in there.
I was just going to
Absolutely.
say, even with your position now, I'd imagine if you didn't play the next 8 ADA events, you'd still be in a pretty good chance of getting that top 2 spot at least. Obviously the World Cup's September, Lakeside is
October, November. Or is it November,
Okay.
December? November, December.
Yeah, so the Premier
So-
League would clash with that because that's October, November.
No, November, December, sorry. So the way that it works out, the World Cup, I get back from the World Cup when it starts, and it finishes 2 days before I fly to the UK.
So can
Yeah.
we confirm, if you do get a spot, which looks like you will in the ANZ Premier League, would you take that opportunity?
Yes.
Good. You heard it first, so stop asking me. Ray said it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'll put a caveat on that. I mean, a lot of it's going to depend on how I pull up after Modus. So, yeah, Modus is brutal. So, but yeah, just putting it out there to a DSL style Modus format. Cough.
Yeah, well, you never know. Could be happening. Look, there's so much happening in Australian darts that you never know what's going to pop up next. I'm sure everyone's got their plans. We are going to have to leave it there. We've got 10 minutes before we go live from the Silver Sands Tavern with the Dosh event, Dosh Friday Night Darts. Declan's streaming that one. And about half an hour after that, we'll kick off from the Stirling Adriatic in Western Australia as well. I'll be streaming that one. So we'll see you all, dart fans. Massive, massive thanks to Ray Smith, the Guru, for giving us this opportunity to find out what the hell is going on in his life. Awesome stuff.
Yeah,
Thanks,
pleasure.
Ray.
Yeah,
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
All right, see you soon, dart fans.